So today we're going to be talking a lot about Battlefield because it is looking insane
this morning.
Yeah, and apparently TV was just saying it is already the top-selling game right now.
Isn't that nuts on Steam?
On Steam.
Yeah,
If you go to top sellers on Steam right now, it's right at the top. No gameplay
this morning. No game. You've never seen gameplay yet. Top seller.
Yeah, that's how
Unreal.
badly people are just literally just aching for this game right now. You know.
So
they're aching for any game right now, I feel.
I hear that, man.
That's actually a good point. Let's talk a little bit about the reveal. So this morning it came out. It's around 4 minutes long. So actually I remember seeing the length of this trailer and I was like surprised. Like, usually you get a 2-minute trailer. So it's 4 minutes long. It says like rendered in the in-game engine or something like that. It is not a gameplay trailer. We're going to see the gameplay on June 13th. So in a couple days here, or in a few days with E3, we're going to talk about E3 later in the episode. But it's like a 4-minute long solid trailer. It's showcasing a lot of the new aspects of the game. If you haven't seen the trailer, go watch it. Looks fantastic. Obviously, there's once you kind of start to learn more about this game, the trailer is showing you some very specific details. So one of the things it's showing is like there's a few different modes it's launching with. You have like the classic kind of conquest style mode. I think it's been mixed up a bit where you capture like one point and then move to the next point, almost like a rush, but within Conquest.
And there's like multiple objectives within each. I
might be a little wrong about that, but like an example they gave is there's this like a stadium in the city, and you have to capture like both ends of the stadium, and then you secure the stadium, and then you like move forward. So it's like a big battle over the stadium.
Question. Go ahead. I've never been really a Battlefield player, so in those game modes, when you're saying that you move on, is it essentially like another map or another part of the map, and then you kind of like fight over that objective?
Yeah, kind of. I think a lot of information was coming at me fast and loose.
Right.
So I think there is going to be that style of like I don't know if you ever played Call of Duty World War II.
No, not really.
Okay. Well, it's like you capture one part and then you go to the next part and there's a new fight over a new part of the map. I feel like in Battlefield, the maps are going to be a little bit more open though and less linear. That's beside the point. You see the part in the trailer where you're in like all these shipping containers and like they get ambushed and it's like this crazy scene. Apparently that's a game mode, Havoc. I forget exactly what it's called, but it's a game mode that is going to be your more close quarters infantry style stuff that we talked about earlier. So if you want to get right into the fray, they're saying some of the Battlefield YouTubers were saying like it's going to be the mode where if you want to like pop up above something and there's 30 people in front of you, like that's the mode you want to play, right?
Right.
Yeah. And speaking of a lot of people, one of the main things is that they're raising the player cap. Currently 64, it's going to be 128. So they're literally doubling.
Even on console, if you're on next gen.
On PlayStation 5, on Xbox Series X and S, and on PC, 128. On older gen consoles, PS4 and Xbone, that's going to be 64 still. But apparently the maps are going to be a bit smaller to kind of like, you're still going to feel like a real Battlefield game. It's not going to be like a massive map and there's no one there, right?
Yeah, and one of the things that Battlefield has consistently done well is these transitions during these big fights and conquest and rush. So a lot of times, you might think, okay, well, just progressing from one part of the map to another part doesn't really sound all that engaging. But one of the things they do is like there's the Levolution that sort of transforms the map and it's this interactive experience. Or on like Dam of Van Peak, when you capture a certain point and you go to the next part of the map, you're literally base jumping off of a mountain and parachuting down every time to the next section of the map.
Yeah.
When you respawn, you get to do that again. So it's like it's all really highly interactive gameplay, even during those transitions. And I love that they showed some of that in the trailer. That kind of gives you that vibe, like, oh, they're going back to Battlefield roots here. Like it showed them all jumping off a cliff, sort of like Damavand. This is the guy that gets splattered by the falling debris.
Something I kind of heard as well was like because 128 players is so big, the maps are going to be significantly bigger. Like one of the maps is like the size of like
Skyrim.
There's like basically it's like a Far Cry map or something crazy. It's huge, and on that map, the Damavan Peaks style jump is like just like a capture point on the freaking map. These like very large maps. Something else crazy, and I'm bringing this up because Tash, you're worried about vehicles, but apparently in this one, you're going to be able to like airdrop vehicles. So maybe there's like a point system, maybe similar to like when you can select a hero in like Battlefront or something like that, or kill streak system,
right?
Where you could call down a tank, and apparently like it's in a physical object. They were saying that you can call a tank on a sniper and it will come and it'll smush the sniper if that guy's like, being annoying.
Perfect. That's gonna be great. A couple of things that are worth mentioning here. One, no single player mode.
Yeah.
There's no story mode. Now every Battlefield, previously has had some form of a campaign, and it's never been crazy or flashy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's very linear. It's a really basic story. You work your way through it, a few hours of gameplay, and you're done. So is this a good thing? They decided to put all of their energy and effort into developing the PvP experience.
You know what's interesting? A huge driving factor in why anyone played Battlefield 4's campaign is because there was 3 different weapons locked behind it based on what ending
that's
you
right.
did. So people would like, that was a huge reason to play the campaign. And then like everyone would just play the last mission and then get it and then like restart in the last mission 3 times to get the guns and then take them over to multiplayer. It's a big debate. A lot of people are saying that like, Call of Duty is going to launch with a campaign and multiplayer and some sort of co-op experience. So a lot of people are going to view this as like less value.
For me, I don't care. I mean, I know there's gamers that do care. I don't care. Battlefield is not a single player story mode game. That's not what it's known for. That's not what they do best. They do that kind of content really mediocrely. I just made up my own adverb. But that they don't excel at it, and it's really not that great. What is great is the PvP stuff they do that's like just massive scale, balls to the walls, insane chaos, warfare on a big scale. So the solo experience it's not Battlefield. So I don't think we're losing anything of real value here. Yeah, if you want a good single player warfare experience, and this isn't it anyways.
100%. And like double down on what you are good at. Double down on the maps, double down on the game running properly for 128 people, like, because that's the thing, is that technology like that's going to need some beefy servers. So if I'm going to miss out on some campaign stuff for a better PvP experience, I'm probably going to be pretty happy there. Take that time to, add some more customization to the guns, make the guns feel good, make the audio feel great. Are they doing a BR mode? Make a BR.
They've actually confirmed that they're not doing a BR mode. It's at least not yet. It's not going to ship with one or anything like that, which a lot of people thought like it's kind of a freebie if they basically do what Call of Duty is doing with Warzone, but with Battlefield, have a free-to-play Battlefield experience in terms of Battle Royale. And then have the full paid games. And then like the next 3 games can all connect to this Battle Royale.
Right.
Will they do that in the future? Possibly, but not going to be near launch.
It's an interesting comment in chat. Someone said it better be $40 then if it doesn't have a single player. That's an interesting comment. I don't think I'm with that. I don't think I'm with that because there's a lot of games out there that only have PvP and they're full price games. The value that you pay for a game is based on the quality of the content, if not what the content specifically is. I mean, if you're looking for a single player game, this ain't it anyway. So you're probably going to spend your $60 on something else.
It doesn't matter what you're saying. I hate to say this, but what you're saying doesn't matter in the sense of you're right, TV. You're right. Everything you're saying is right. They should be doubling down on the multiplayer. Look, DICE has the stats, guys. It's like 99% of the hours spent in Battlefield is multiplayer. They would be stupid to invest too much money in the single player. But everything we've all just said doesn't matter because the more casual gamers are going to look at the box and they're going to go, no single player. Well, that's just dumb. This game should be $40.
They're going to sell copies anyways. It doesn't matter. I mean, look at the fact it's already top seller on Steam.
Okay, yeah, it could be. But I'm telling you, I hate to say this term, but it is the demographic that's going to say this. But the dad gamers, they are going to view not having single player as just the removal of content. Because, and I'm not trying to be insulting, but it's just like you have like a view of what a game should be, right? And again, it's been years of Call of Duty and Battlefield. It's like single player, multiplayer, co-op. That's what we come to expect. So if it doesn't have one of those things now, you view it as like a lesser experience. Whereas you guys are making the argument it's worth that because if you're spending 99% of your time in multiplayer, you want all the resources to go to multiplayer, right?
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, and I think that a lot of that audience, they may initially pass up on the game, but then when they start seeing gameplay, hearing reviews, seeing all the streamers playing it day after day after day and being like, okay, well, hold up. You know what I'm saying? They might change their tune.
Oh, 100%. And like, people are going to be like $60, but it's like, listen, you spend $60 and it's like good Battlefield game. You're going to be in there running smoothly. There's going to be helicopters blowing up planes out of the sky and everything's running at 120 frames per second. And
you're like, I want to be in there.
You're like, that's where my money went, right? Like,
yeah, that's right.
How many games have I bought recently that have been like a letdown? Like, I'll spend whatever the price is as long as it's a great game because I'm craving a great game. Like
absolutely.
You know, I bought Cyberpunk and I'm like, well,
you
know, it's what it is. That had a single player.
We can talk a little bit about that when we get to the E3 section. But a couple of things I think are important to note before we move on from Battlefield. There's two key features about this game that I think are worth bringing up in the show. One of them is that they've revamped the class system, so it's not going to be the same as it has been in previous games where you're like, okay, well, I'm going to play the medic or the support, you know, or the engineer. They actually have, it's almost more like a hero style game, like a champion style game, where they're actually named characters. Like you've got Boris, and he's your engineer, but he's fully voice acted. He has his own sort of character and voice lines and story development.
Like Rainbow Six Siege, very similar to a Rainbow Six Siege style thing, and they're doing that for a reason.
Yeah, and that's the thing. People love that hero style shooter where they can identify. Oh, I really like this guy in particular. You know what I'm saying? And so that's kind of cool. But again, they also have like the classes are sort of built into those characters, those heroes. So it's similar but different. It's a different take on a similar system.
I kind of like that because then it's like if I see Boris, I'm like, okay, this is his kit.
Yeah. So
like, or I have a good idea of what I'm dealing with. Because in Battlefield, when I played it, I was like, there's just so many people. You know, is he going to be a close range? That guy's sniper? I don't know.
So it's kind of like it's merging both of those systems. So there's still going to be 4 classes. Like I don't know if you've played any other Battlefield game, but you pick the assault,
like a medic,
or you pick a support. And you have the LMGs. So you still have, there's going to be like, I think it's assault, recon, support, medic, maybe.
Engineer.
Don't quote me on that. Engineer, maybe, instead of medic. I think assault has become the medic, but it's 4 classes. And then the specialists are one of those classes. So one of the assault specialists that they gave was this like Canadian JTF, like Canadian Special Forces guy. And he has a grappling hook. Like his gadget, just like Rainbow Six Siege, is a grappling hook. So he's still an assault. So I think he gets access to certain gear, but he gets the special ability for being that specialist is the grappling hook, and no one else can get the grappling hook.
Yeah.
And then the Boris guy, he's a support, so he gets access to like being able to potentially give teammates ammo and stuff, which support has in the past. But his special ability is he gets an auto turret that like attack enemies, right?
Oh.
So that's how this is being built. And there's going to be 10 specialists that launch, but that's like the perfect platform to add more. Like, it's like, that's what
exactly
people
right.
want. Perfect things to add for like season to season. Hey, we're adding some new guns.
Look at Apex Legends.
Specialists. Yep.
They're raking in cash. Anytime they launch a new character, even if they suck, people are like, I'm buying it.
Genshin Impact. Like having these sweet specialists like operators, we're adding the Navy SEAL guy, and he's dope, and he's got the like frogman suit like covering his face and stuff, and everyone's like, oh god, he's got a crazy ability. Dude, Rainbow Six Siege has gone so hard on those, and like the voice acting is superb, and people get attached to the characters. It's such a brilliant idea to bring that into Battlefield.
Yeah. And the other system I wanted to bring up is that they've implemented this new feature called the Plus system is what they called it. And it's basically this holographic interface that even in middle of combat, maybe you like duck into a bunker and you're like, okay, the next part of this fight is going to be a CQC because we're going indoors for the next portion of this. And I got all ranged stuff on. So you can pull up this holographic menu and start swapping out your attachments in the game, you know, mid combat. So you're like, okay, rip the scope off. We're putting a hollow sight on. I'm going to want this suppressor and an under barrel grenade launcher on. You know what I mean? You can do all that in the heat of combat. So you don't have to have all of your preset loadouts to cycle through. You know what I mean?
Do you guys ever play Crisis? Do you guys ever play Crisis back in the day?
No.
Oh,
I didn't play it, but I know what it is.
That same system. You'd bring up your gun and you would like swap mag, swap barrel. So it's sight, barrel, mag, and like something else, maybe underbarrel.
Underbarrel stuff, stocks, and
because especially modern military weapons, just modern guns in general, they're extremely variable, like
very accessorized. Yeah,
I'm not trying to be. They're like Swiss Army knives, literally, because you can so you can literally in Battlefield. Hey, like you said, I'm going into a bunker. I'm going into short barrel, right? You can apparently the magazine attachments. You can have different types of ammo, so you could potentially switch to a lighter caliber. I'm going to 9mm. It's gonna influence how fast your gun shoots. So it's like fast rate of fire, short barrel. I'm switching, maybe putting a flashlight on or a laser sight on for better hip fire. I have a scope. I'm changing that to a red dot sight. I'm going into this bunker, close quarters, baby.
Yeah.
And you could do that all in the game. Like you used to have to do that in the menu when you died, for example. But now you can do it right on the fly before you head down into the bunker. That sounds crazy.
Yeah, and I understand people are like, well, I really wish people could you'd have to just play to your role. But I mean, in most shooters these days, you can do similar things. You can change your loadout without having to die in order to do it. And I don't think you should have to die in order to add some variation to your gameplay. So I think I'm very open to this. I'm pretty excited about this system, seeing how it will integrate.
Another important thing, and Tash, this is interesting for you because you mentioned like I hated vehicles and I would pick a class to deal with infantry, and then a vehicle comes, I'm like, I'm screwed. But apparently there's a lot more melding between the classes. So before, if you wanted a sniper rifle, you had to be the recon class.
Right.
But apparently now any class can pick so you can be a support and use a sniper rifle. So
maybe you can have like anti-vehicle stuff kind of universally as well, maybe?
Well, yeah, like recon, classically, they would have C4 charges. You could go up behind, throw a C4 charge on a tank, blow it up, kill it.
Right.
But, hey, I want a C4 charge, but I don't want to freaking snipe, right? If you wanted the C4 charge, you'd have to pick recon. That meant you had to have a sniper rifle. But now, I can put on my assault rifle, I can put on a light machine gun on my recon class, and I get access to their kit potentially, and I get access to some of their abilities.
Right.
That is going to let you, and then you're going to have more people potentially able to deal with these vehicles, able to like mix and match where they want.
Which also is like I get like maybe you want to have like that war feel and like you got to be your specialist, but it's like, stop. It's a game. I want to be able to blow stuff up, but then I want to blow everyone up with my AK. Like,
exactly.
And that speaks exactly to what Kakis and I were talking about in the very last episode. We were like, what they have to do is they have to really embrace the content side of Battlefield. Because the Rendazook, we even talked about it. Oh, I remember
the trailer.
He jumped out of his plane and he rockets the other plane. Then he climbs back into his cockpit. They showed it off in the trailer. And that's literally exactly what we said last time is they got to lean into that. And it looks like they did.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean,
it's not hyper realism.
And that's the thing is you have to have that bit of goofiness in a game. It doesn't matter if it's fully military, because if it's like, if you want realism, you're gonna have the most boring game ever. You're gonna be hulking around 80 pounds in ammo, and you're gonna turn like this, and like you can't do that. If you don't make games, I think a lot of the time you're just gonna get something that's really boring. And if you don't have customization, I think honestly, I like when, maybe there is some classes to choose from and it does pigeonhole you a little bit. I'm okay with that. But sometimes I feel like developers go too far with lack of customization. And then it's like, well, I like this, but I hate this part of it. And I like this part of it. And you can never find anything. And actually, when I was playing that Phantasy Star Online, I had a hell of a time figure out which class I wanted to play, because I was like, I really like this stuff. This feels terrible. Like I can't deal with it. And I there's some things where if you can't change it, it almost ruins it for me. So I'm honestly more happy because that is the feeling I had. It was like, well, I like the medic and the gun is fine. And I like this class because I like this gun, but I never felt like there was one that I loved and I felt really comfortable on.
Like that was always like a big problem with the game. It's like, if you wanted the guns that were the best for killing other players, you needed to play assault, but that they were useless against vehicles. So and definitely a little bit of a dynamic there. Their solution in like Battlefield 4 was carbines, like a little bit worse than assault rifles, but a sniper could use a carbine and it would function, similarly. But again, this is just so much better. And then the customization comes from these specialists where it's like, hey, you want the grappling hook? You got to be this specialist. And this specialist is an assault. And you can use all the different guns you want, but that you get the kit of. I just think it's a great freaking idea. Yeah. Like, I think it's like they're kind of picking the best parts from all these different games, like the customization system of maybe even a Call of Duty, or maybe even more in depth than that. They still have the classic Battlefield squad system, the Rainbow Six Siege operator system. They're all mashing it together into one like crazy game.
The big thing now is just waiting a few more days to see the gameplay in action, see the maps, like show off some of that stuff. I think, we've got like the hype, and then if it pops off, it's going to go even more because I think everyone obviously wants to see it in action. They want to see the game play out. Does it look clunky? Does it look good? What are the colors on the maps? We don't really know what it's going to look like yet. Is it going to be all washed out and gray? And that's like 4 days away. So